Welcome to a Workflow Builder tutorial where I'm going to show you how to import data dynamically from incoming email messages and also how to set up a customized workflow for using that data. For this example, we'll be creating a Mail2SMS function where an incoming email message will trigger the sending of a text message. To begin, we need to create an incoming channel that you can find under Workflows and My Channels. On the right-hand side, we need to create a new Mail channel by clicking on the plus symbol and then selecting Email. Here we see an example of how the new channel looks as well as its various settings. We'll call the new channel Mail2SMS so we can easily locate it later. Remove the default sender to leave the channel open so that it can receive messages from all senders. The subdomain is your account name and is used to route messages associated to your account. Click on Create Channel. We then go back to My Workflows and click on the plus symbol in the right-hand corner to create a new workflow. We'll call it Mail2SMS and confirm. We then select Create New Workflow. We'll start by creating a trigger by dragging a trigger from the left-hand menu to the new workspace. We then select the appropriate action, which in this case is Incoming Email Message Trigger. There are a variety of alternatives to choose from. Here is where we see the incoming resource. Right now, these settings are blank, but they'll be filled in when we run the workflow. We open the trigger and select Mail2SMS, the channel we created earlier. We'll let the settings stay as they are, and we'll see a list of all messages that come to this channel. You'll notice that the title font is bold, which means that there are currently unsaved changes. You'll even notice that here in the lower left-hand corner where it says One Unsaved Change. We'll go up to File and click Save or Control S. We've now saved the changes and the font is regular. The first thing we want to do is to retrieve the recipient from the incoming email message. For this, we'll drag Add Job from the left menu. There are several ways for doing this, but the easiest is to use Get Users from Incoming Message. You can search like I just did, or navigate there by scrolling to Units and Get Users from Incoming Message. Double-click on the new icon to insert settings. We'll change Find User Location to Receiver Fields since we're looking for the sender's telephone number. This function already exists as a part of the Get Users from Incoming Message. There are additional ways of extracting information, but we'll use this one. Now we'll close the window and connect the trigger to the action by dragging, and since we've made changes to the workflow, we'll press Command S to save. Now we want to retrieve the incoming text so we know what we want to send. We'll add another job and search for Data Operation. Data operation is something we often use for things like getting details from incoming messages or to do a calculation. We're going to choose Set Data and enter a source. In this case, we'll use incomingmessage.body. You can find more information about this in the help pages by going to Working with Variables. Here you can also find additional syntaxes and related information you can gather. Incoming message body is what we'll use. We now have incoming message as the source, and for destination we'll enter metadata.message_text, which will become available from this point forward. Now we connect this job to our flow. Next, we want to add a send action. We currently have the incoming message, a recipient that we've extracted, and now we want to trigger the sending of an outgoing message. We'll do this by adding a new job and then selecting Send Message to Groups. When you use Get Users from Incoming Message, the information gets placed into something we call a temporary group or workflow context units, so it remains available and can be used to send from. Another option would have been to create a group, connect the two, and send messages to that group every time, but we want to keep this dynamic by only sending a message to the original sender. That's why we'll mark Use Workflow Context Units here, and that's the only setting we need to select in this case. Connect the two and save. Now we have to define the message sender. We do this by adding a message template. We'll call it Mail2SMS. Here we can choose message type. We'll choose SMS. We'll add a sender name, Bosbec for example. Now we want to add the message body. You can add static text, but then it'll be the same message every time. What we want to do is add the contents from the metadata file we created earlier. So we'll cut and paste message_text from here and paste it here within brackets. This will insert the text from the metadata file. If there isn't any text, then the brackets and message text will be visible text. Then we connect the message template to the flow. And that's it. Here we have a simple workflow that we can use. Now I'll show you how to run it. First, we have to activate it. In the top right-hand corner, we have a slider labeled Run that we want to toggle to On. Now the workflow is activated. I'll test it using a second computer and sending a message to the number. That will trigger the workflow. You can see this by either going to View, Execution History, or by clicking Control-. This opens up a new window where you can see the recently triggered workflow. If we then click here and then Incoming Message, we can view the message details. Here you can see where the message was sent to. And here we can see that there's even an outgoing SMS in statistics, message history, and here we see one incoming and one outgoing message with a confirmed sent status. That completes the first video in this series. In the next video, we'll look into troubleshooting workflows as well as take a closer look at the windows you see here. Please visit bosbec.com to learn more about our company and services. There you can also find additional guides and tutorials, as well as contact alternatives for questions and technical support.